All right, so curious on what people's predictions are going to be for this, as we have Portuguese picked here on good old Cross. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another series in Titans League. This is opening up Group B for MbL, who was the group champion in the first season. And Dark was a player who was promoted out of gold, so he's a promoted player looking to play with the big boys here and show what he's capable of. We've got MbL in the blue playing as the Japanese. And that is a standard pick for this map. It's got a lot of fish, and Japanese known for their flexibility, which is very helpful on this map as well. And Dark has gone for the Portuguese, and I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not sure I love it, and I'll tell you why I don't love it. Now, I'm sure he has something prepared. But the new Portuguese, right? The thing that stands out about them is that they get wood when they take berries. However, to play this map properly, you want to have wood early so you can place a dock and make fishing ships. That's like a must on this map. So what I've been seeing with Portuguese is players are making a mill before lumber camp. But if you're looking to dock, the wood isn't going to come in fast enough where you can do that type of build. I mean, it's not going to hurt, right, to play into the wood and the docks and everything else, because you kind of have to on this map. But you're just delaying making use of that bonus, which makes Portuguese feel a little bit more generic. We'll see if maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the fact that, you know, Portuguese, and they've always had this, have cheaper gold units. Dark did pick them first. So I honestly think there's a very small chance here, guys, that Dark will go fast castle. Like a very, I say small chance, like a 20% chance that he's going to do it because he picked Portuguese as his very first civilization. Dark knows this map. We'll see if he gives us something special here. Again, Japanese, they have the cheaper lumber camps, easier to get the dock up that much faster. And then on the back of that, their fishing ships bring in food pretty quickly, as well as having a lot of armor. And MbL is really good in messy maps. He's really good on this map in particular. I could see him competing for all the pawns in this game. I think Japanese, Portuguese are pretty close if the game goes late. I think you might prefer to have Portuguese if the game goes late, though. And Portuguese just have the better stable. And also saving gold on everything you make is like a really big bonus that I think is something that adds up over the long run. Yeah, if you watched any of the Gold League from the first season, Dark was pretty solid there. And he ended up, I think, second in his group. Then had to go for like a little bit of a... Or did he win his group? No. I believe he was second in his group. I think he was in the group with Ganji, possibly. Yeah, we had a bit of a playoff to determine who was going to be promoted. And he obviously made it here. And Dark is... I forget how old is he now? 18? I believe Dark is 18 years old. This is really hard for me to remember because there was a point where he was 15. But I don't remember what point that was. But he's like super young. But he's been around a long time. So it's like, I say that. I actually think he's 17. Can someone check his Wikipedia profile? I remember there was an instance where I said he was like 16. And he messaged me later, was like, hey, I watched your cast. I'm 15. I already feel old. And then I see players like this. But yeah, he's been playing at a high level for many years now. It's not like he's new. He might have started when he was like 12 or 13. But okay, anyways, fishing ships for MbL. MbL's scout was forward. Got some good scouting in there on Dark. Did get some hits on Dark Scout too. So Dark Scout is weaker for later. We'll keep that in mind. Yeah, there was a point where everyone was 15, guys. I get that, okay? Also, someone earlier today said... Oh, okay, so he is 18 now? Okay, good to know. Man, anyone born past the year 2000 just feels like a baby to me. But someone said your voice sounds slightly older to me today. And I was thinking, I was like, well, yeah, technically speaking, I am slightly older from the last time you heard me. I'm not sure if you could hear that difference, but... All right, no fast castle from Dark, by the way. Just playing standard. And he hasn't... Has he confirmed that MbL's dock here? He hasn't. But he saw the berries and he saw the TC. So he has to assume there's going to be a dock here. And he's already sending a villager, which I think is going to try and sneak and hit that pond. But again, you know, like, this is the first civilization pick on Dark's draft. we haven't seen anything new about this. Like, this is how Portuguese would have been last year and the year before. No bonuses have really been utilized. Have not seen a villager go to gold yet here for Dark. And Dark is in the dark and doesn't see that MbL is going for militia. Now, this is a really common thing. Like, Japanese are the best at adding in fishing ships and then having that wood, because the lumber camps are so cheap, mills, whatever, to be able to also go for man-at-arms. A lot of other civilizations can't do this. So to not scout for it shows me a lack of preparation. This is obviously a good strat. A lot of players try and sneak docks. But MbL's just sitting here now. He's being patient. And Dark doesn't really seem to have a clue that this is coming. And MbL, he's going to show up even before the man-at-arm upgrade. And Dark reacts here with some beautiful quick walls. Wow. And I think it was a game yesterday. Oh, as Dark doesn't get the quick wall down there. MbL will be happy with just denying the gold. I think it was a game it wouldn't have been yesterday. Sorry, I wasn't streaming yesterday. But anyways, there was a game recently where someone didn't scout something originally, and then they just were able to quick wall and get themselves out of trouble. But look, you've got 4 villagers that aren't working. These 2 villagers are actually blocked off. So that house is actually blocking them from dropping off that wood. And I think the bigger issue here, as we'll see if MbL scouts this, he hasn't looked for it. Some people will look with fishing ships. I think the bigger issue here about this whole thing is the fact that Dark can't take gold, which means he can't make more than 1 fire galley. MbL's freely taking gold, and he's Japanese, so his fishing ship should be pretty strong. And now he can't make a fire galley because he has to make an archer at home. This is honestly like as bad as of a start as you could have without losing any villagers here. 2 villagers stuck. It probably won't even show as idle. And this is not going to get any easier for you, believe me, if you're Dark. You're going to see Dark go over here to gold. And MbL's got a villager here. So MbL's going to hit the fish. Remember, MbL's fishing ship still will not be hit by anything. And now he checks, actually. And we'll see with that fishing ship that there's docks there. A really good work from MbL, man. He's just like smothered Dark with the pressure so far. Hasn't killed any villagers, though. Sometimes with this level of pressure, you want to get some kills. Even if it's not villagers, you just want to kill something, get control. And there's that kill. Very important kill there, because now there's going to be no army here for Dark. And this could add up quick. At least in MbL's case, right? He scouted it ahead of time. We'll see if he is able to compete and defend. It will be 2 docks production for Dark. But yeah, sorry, I looked away as I was trying to show everything else. But yeah, these villagers, they're eventually going to go down to the skirms. Unless there's some range support here from Dark. He's just going all in on the fish. So he tried to run with those 2 villagers. And now he's trying to run with these villagers because he knows they will eventually die and he will not have help for them. And MbL should be blocking with the scout here. He's going to get that villager kill. And Dark's able to get away with more. But it's 3-0 eco KD. It's 5-0 total KD. This isn't even close so far. And here we're going to have that fire ship. You do have a little bit more HP with Portuguese. But there's going to be a repair attempt with these villagers. But the man-at-arms and skirmishers are going to be here. And so I don't think this gets any better for you if you're Dark. But I can understand. He's just been so far behind from the start here. I can understand why he felt the need to try it. But this is all because of the lack of scouting, guys. He didn't scout the man-at-arm rush, and he just got completely surprised by it. Now, we will have things to look at on MbL's side of things. But the eco KD is now 8-2. MbL is going to lose his entire pond. So I guess both players are going to lose their fish, which is kind of an interesting stat. We're going to have a villager try and dock in the north for Dark. MbL's already going to be there. But okay, so let's just say they both have 0 fishing ships. At the moment, Dark is 1 or 2. But let's say that's the case. Who has land army? MbL loses his scout, but he's still got a lot more land army with the man-at-arms and the skirmishers. And he's probably looking right now. He just wants to know, where is Dark getting gold? He must have realized that Dark would be over here. But yeah, I've seen a lot of games. And unless there's a big fish boom recovery on this side for Dark, I'd be very surprised if he's able to come back in this game. MbL has started this so clean. Every aspect of his eco at home is perfectly balanced from what I'm seeing. He's also been untouched, right? He hasn't had to do as much work. And here he's aiming to kill a villager. He'll see that there's a tower going up there from Dark. Dark needs that tower, to be honest. Absolutely needs that tower. That's going to protect some of his wood line, but it's also going to protect the gold. So, you know, oftentimes from this position, in this type of a messy game, the player who's killed as much eco as MbL has would just finish the game in early castle. But for Dark, you know, it's game 1 in the series. I still have to question picking Portuguese. I know that Portuguese have the cheaper gold units, more HP on their ships. Like, there are some relevant bonuses. But if I'm not wrong, guys, he had Lithuanians on his draft. And Lithuanians are easy top 3 in my mind on this map. Like, Lithuanians, I think, are slightly better than Japanese. And that's been proven. At what point do you applaud someone for trying to, like, go against the grain, go against the meta, and switch it up? Or do you just say, well, it's an established meta for a reason, and then just question the whole pick entirely? I think a lot of that comes down to how the game goes. It's easy to applaud somebody when they win and say, oh, I can see what you were thinking. But when they lose, then it's like, well, what were you thinking? This is interesting in the north. So Dark doesn't know that MbL's here, but he is making a fire galley anyways. And MbL's just seen that Dark is here with that villager who he pulled to the side. And MbL's dropping a tower back here, by the way. Sneaky little tower that will deny some of that gold and the wood line. As he's still just all over Dark. Dark's eco balance looks really poor. His scouting's been really poor this game. His scout's just here right now. But he's got his work cut out for him here. MbL's the heavy favorite. Dark may be trying to take some risks here or there, and a lot of that could have been seen. Like, he was hoping that he could get the dock up against MbL, and because he was so focused on that play, which is a good play on this map, he didn't know what was coming. And oh my goodness, MbL with the runner micro with the 2 weaker archers kills a couple archers there from Dark, and he's on his way to Castle H now. Well, you know, with MbL, this is probably going to be a siege push. A lot of players will add a stable in this position because your opponent is wide open. And you can dive knights underneath towers and whatnot. MbL might not want to do that. He might just want to go for a siege workshop. And the KD is definitely not telling the whole story here, if you ask me. And MbL will lose his fishing ships in this pond. A bit interesting that he fished in this before he had cleared up the dock, because he was ahead. And I guess the way back for Dark would be to control those ponds and then hold from this early Castle Age attack from MbL. There is that stable for MbL. So he is going to add in the knights. And it's not full commit. I think you just like make 2 knights, and it's really hard to stop knights if you're in Dark's position. But Dark just, honestly, he just seems outpaced at the moment. A lot of that could probably be because he's looking at water way more than MbL is. You can see fire galleys are on the way, and he's focusing on 3 ponds. But it's just a painful game. There's no other way to say it. And for Dark, not the start he would have wanted to a series. There are starts where someone loses, and it's like, okay, they're in this series, like, they're looking clean, this is looking fine. And then there are starts where it looks like the player is just going to be dominated the rest of the games, and that's definitely what I'm feeling right now based on this game. This is bad. Also, if a player like plays on super long when they're also completely toasted and completely dead, that also makes me think it's more of like a mental thing. But that's just the issues that I tend to have. I won't realize how dead I am sometimes. And so that's just a theory that I have. But I mean, the score is saying that Dark is ahead right now, which is super weird. I guess that's a factor that players consider a lot, right? And with games that have water, you tend to see that score changed significantly. And Knight runs in to get the value we were thinking of. MbL not opting for a siege push here. Happy probably just to deny his opponent's gold income. And MbL dropping the second town center at home, so he can just add more villagers now. Only 3 fishing ships for MbL. He is now trying to dock the south. MbL's probably thinking that if Dark has fishing ships there, it could be a problem. MbL's still trying to be competitive here in the north as well, but I don't think he's necessarily going to win this. Maybe there is a chance for Dark, but he would have to hold against all of this. Wow, some crazy quick walls here from Dark. Clearly showing he's got the talent here. Oh my goodness. But if that knight loops around this side with this little ranged army, it's still actually an army that can kill him. And more villagers going down to just a little feudal army. Actually, they do have Bodkin Arrow. But many of these villagers are weak from earlier on in the game. And just good patience from MbL. As he will drop another tower. Just slowly creeping in with towers everywhere. Here, these villagers still can't work. The scout pops out here from Dark to try and take out this army. Might take out 1 or 2 units, but the range units will still be there. Dark's still stuck in feudal age, still having problems. Yeah, score is really close. Actually, population is even really close. It's interesting how close it is. Like, I would have assumed that MbL would actually have a bit more of an eco lead, but it's just because he has no fish. And Dark is adding a lot of fish, too. But look at the Vil difference. 37 Vils now for Dark. That's going to continue to drop. He can't take golds as MbL drops another tower over here. Another villager goes down. I like the Cav Archer edition from MbL. In fact, I really like the Cav Archer edition. The Japanese have pretty good Cav Archers. I think they have full upgrades on Cav Archers in the long run, but also he doesn't really have archers to justify the crossbow upgrade, which is more expensive these days, so it should be fine. What is your long term here if you're Dark? He's still adding fishing ships, guys, but he looks completely dead. There's no army that he can really compete with in the middle. And I think he's getting close to that GG call now. Just a painful amount of losses here in the wood line. He won't even have a wood line. And there's the GG. Again, it's really easy to say, as that's an interesting stat to pop up at the end. It's really easy to say for me as a caster. But I do not understand the Portuguese choice. But beyond that, guys, rule number 1 on this map, when you're up against the Japanese, if you're an experienced player, is you have to look for that barracks. And Dark's focus was on the pond. And you could see he was a little late to finding it. It's like the villager was already on the way. So that was in his mind at this point. But, you know, if you're going to go for the strategy Dark's going for, I think that's completely fine. But you've got to get some wall-offs on your gold before any ranged units arrive from MbL. MbL found far too much value with his man-at-arms. And then everything started to fall apart for Dark. Remember, Dark ended up killing MbL's fishing ships, even though he couldn't make fire galleys right away. Imagine if he had his gold protected and his woodline walled up, and the man-at-arms didn't kill villagers. I think Dark is in a better position here. And then he's also able to make archers and skirmishers out of his range, and then he's able to micro. But he had to choose between making ships, which he opted for, and making land army. And because he didn't have land army is why he ended up losing this game. So it's just like, sometimes it's something that players who are quick think they don't have to do. They think they don't have to see it because they can quick wall like this, but it still produces some big problems. Biggest problem actually for him was the fact that these two villagers were stuck, and then also the fact he had to shift gold. Shifting gold meant no archers, and shifting gold meant he was delayed on those fire galleys. But good first game there for MbL. I mean, honestly, it just like, he didn't do anything fancy, just played standard and clean. Not too much to say about it. Transitioned into Castle Age really quickly there. More food, more gold, more stone. And it just had a feel of MbL, super confident. Never feels like he can lose a game in this series. Let's see if he actually does, though. So here we are, game number 2. And we're going to put Dark back to the red. But yeah, I was just questioning, why would you pick Lithuanians on your draft if you weren't planning them on Cross? The answer here is that Dark wants to play them on Shoals. This is his home map. MbL's gone for the Mongols. This is a map that was played in Empire War settings in the recent Red Bull event, which was a freaking experience, man. I still can't believe all that happened. But yeah, you know, it plays out a lot differently in RM. It's a little bit more strategic. You know, it's not as much about spamming army, a lot more about thinking, scouting, preparing for the map, as standard RM tends to do for you. And you've got 4 tiles of gold near your base in this map. You can see the golds are kind of awkward at times as well, as MbL and Dark's bases are shown now. Then you've got fish in the middle, and that's what Dark wants to go for. Dark, starting with 150 extra food with the Lithuanians, he has already started to collect wood, which should mean a much earlier dock for him. And you also have a sea tower on each side, so generally you're going to see the tower protect your fish. And you've got deep fish, more deep fish than you would have seen in Red Bull. And then you've got fewer shorefish, but there's still a lot of shorefish out there, and it's almost a surprising amount every time you click it. So it's nice to have the water, but you can't have only the water and win this game. I've seen some practice matches where people are going crazy heavy on the water, but in Platinum League at least, I think we've seen 2 games on it. We're not ever seeing more than 2 dock commitment, and sometimes players will just stay on 1 dock and be happy with what the fish has brought them. Now, Jordan was the player who actually showed me how freaking sick Mongols can be on this map, because I knew there was the starting hunt, right? And that's something MbL is going to be taking advantage of. Mongols hunt faster, lots of starting hunt. But there's actually deer everywhere. And so I obviously was the one who envisioned using this for the season. And then I pull the map maker up and we look at the maps and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm envisioning. And they're like, yeah, that's good. Boom. We look at a bunch of different versions. That's basically how situations tend to play out. But I didn't think about the other areas of hunts. And it was Jordan actually who had taken that to the next level with the Mongols. So I'll be curious to see if MbL does that. But again, like you could see mills here in theory and mills here in theory later on for MbL. And Mongols are definitely up there in the conversation of civilizations for this map just because of that hunt. So we'll see. 2 fishing ships already for Dark. I think in terms of food income, though, things should even out because Dark will have the fishing faster, but MbL has all that hunt. If anything, MbL might still stay ahead with resources collected because 40% faster is pretty insane. Yep. But I mean, whoa, holy crap. But yeah, I mean, things should be rather even overall because you also went to wood faster here, Dark. So I like that fact. Obviously, Lithuanians also start with an extra 150 food, which doesn't show in that. But yeah, be curious to see what Dark's plan is here in the long term. I think Lithuanians will want a lot of like skirmishers probably against the Mongols in the late game because Mongols want to have the Mangadai. But then again, you know, like you've got Hussars on the other side for Mongols. I honestly, I think you just do not want this game to go late game against Mongols. Especially with MbL. Like, you do not want this game to go late game in general. So I think it's going to be about controlling these gold piles on either side prior to the Imperial Age. Could obviously see a Feudal Age scout attack or some type of military play there. You can see Dark now is actually moving out with this scout on the right side. And that's the other thing I'll be thinking of, too, is like, what does MbL do? Does he go for scouts? Does he compete for water, or does he feel like he can just hide underneath that sea tower and just get away with some fishing for now? I could see MbL going scouts and then adapting back into water later on. I think that'd be a very MbL thing to do. If I had to make a prediction, I would say that Dark plays into water control. And as I see him shifting a lot more to wood right now, I feel like that's definitely the case. Not sure about MbL, though, because he added a mill, which is pretty uncommon. Then again, he's also going to gold. Then again, he's still creating villagers. Is he going fast castle here? Getting loom now. Okay, so maybe it's just not a very streamlined build order for MbL. Because he could have clicked up much faster if he wanted to. We'll see. Why isn't Dark green? Because green and blue combined is bad for people with color blindness. You can see that he did pick green because there's the little green 3 next to his name. But there's enough viewers where that bothers, and it looks like they're looking at the same color where I don't do that combination ever. Yeah, Russell, this set is recorded games. Obviously, no one's seen the games, so it's as good as live. We just don't have to wait for people to pause to take bathroom breaks and wait for people to be late on their drafts or whatever could happen. Players have been pretty good with that these days. But we'll have some live, some recs throughout all the group stage, and then later on in the playoff stage, we will try and get as many live as possible. But again, it's the same thing, pretty much. Like, I know, like, people always, I know there's a fixation on it because people are always asking constantly, is it live or is it recs? For me, I've done this for so long, I cannot tell you how much time I've, like, wasted waiting on games. And as long as there's no spoilers and as long as it's structured properly, which I feel like we've done a pretty good job of, I actually would prefer to have some Rex mixed in. I think it makes things a lot more smooth for the show. And you guys have limited time. You guys are busy people, right? You guys are running like 5, 6, 7 businesses. You've got like 6 kids. I don't know your situation. That might be wrong. But, you know, you can't wait around all day regardless, too. Anyways, I'll tell you what was not good there. Is Dark losing his scout. Like, he started to attack villagers there because he saw that MbL didn't have loom or something. I'm not sure. Didn't kill the villager. Kept his scout alive. And then ended up losing it over there as well. So now he doesn't have vision on what MbL is going to do. He didn't get to see that MbL was making a stable. And MbL is going fast castle here. So I didn't think that he could actually achieve a fast castle when I had seen him click up. Like, I remember I brought it up. I was like, yeah, maybe he was wanting to go fast feudal, but he didn't have it right. No, he has it right. Like, this is really good. And he has faith in that sea tower. Meanwhile, over here, MbL trying to kill a villager. And this is just, dude, it's just like, poor Dark. He's probably going to lose this villager. He is really good at quick walling. He doesn't even try it there. And so MbL has 2 kills just like that. And he's on his way to Castle Age. I am curious, though, if MbL will try and compete on water in Castle Age. Because now his fishing ships are going to have to venture further out. He is going to make fire galleys now. And Dark's massing those galleys. So the thing is, if he can get the war galley upgrade and maybe a second dock, he could actually push all this. The Dark's been fishing with 7 fishing ships. MbL might have 0 soon. MbL does also have the stable, though. And he saw his opponent was walling. And he's now scouting the inside of his opponent's base, too. So he's like, okay. That wouldn't surprise me at all to see MbL send a villager forward. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see MbL drop a second town center. He's got quite a few options on this. But honestly, the more I look at it, if Dark can just keep whatever's going to come out of that stable out of his base, which he could do with the Navy and the walls, he's got really good resources right now, and he's adding more fishing ships. Look at the additional dock now. This fish approach could be pretty crazy. There goes MbL with Step Lancers. Now, I know people want to get excited about the Step Lancers, but the thing you should remember about the Step Lancer is it costs quite a bit of food. And MbL doesn't even have horse color yet. So, like, if he's farming in the long term without fish, he's going to hope these Step Lancers will actually get value. The other thing that's cool about this map, guys, is there's this X in the middle of crossings, and you can run through it if you wish to. But you already have walling up. I think you could actually walk over this way if you're MbL. But yeah, like, I'm not sure if Step Lancers should be running into the galleys here or the sea tower. MbL is hoping there's a gap. As far as I can see, he didn't scout one. And he's not going to be able to break in here. So he's going to go the other way with Step Lancers. And this might even be a siege push for MbL. He has to be careful, though. There are alligators that protect the golds. If you're just sending 1 or 2 villagers, the alligators could win that battle. This is me and my fiance when we go outside for a walk here in Florida. We're like, oh, it's a beautiful day out here. Let's go for a little stroll. I don't know who this lady is. It's just us. And then I'm getting attacked. Nah, I mean, he should be fine. We'll see. I'm still very curious. MbL using a scout here to be annoying. A Step Lancer here to be annoying. He's got fire ships in here trying to snipe fishing ships to be annoying. And he's killed quite a few fishing ships there. So there's so many different pressure points right now. And so many different talking points and things that Dark has to look at. I'm kidding, by the way. Yeah, we can find alligators if we want to find them. But we don't run into them every day. I don't want to paint that incorrect impression of Florida. Because there's so many Florida things that people are constantly talking about that are not incorrect, but just not something that Floridians have to deal with every day. No! See, Dark had dealt with so many other things. But he's trying to palisade wall against Step Lancers, and the Step Lancer pokes a villager through the wall. So it's a great job from Dark to defend from the majority of things, but a couple Step Lancers get in. Now you've got fire ships out from MbL. You've got Dark on the tower right now. And these Step Lancers and Scouts are going to get into this wood line too. And it's just another game where MbL just gets so much value from his units here. We are going to see Knights, though, for Dark. And Dark still has more work to do with the quick walling, which is not going to be easy. And if you make one mistake, you're going to lose 3 or 4 more villagers. Crazy KD for MbL right now. Is remember, he has the TC up on that right side. That'll be important to talk about. The good news for Dark is Dark still has 7 fishing ships, and there's still a lot more food to be found out here. The bad news for him is MbL keeps luring him into that tower and is waiting with demos. I really like how MbL's played this. He added enough on water to pressure the fish, but then he's just been focusing on land. I guess kind of similar to game number 1 if you think about it. MbL trying his best to poke with those step lancers over the trees. That won't happen. Town center will go up here for Dark. Gotta love that. MbL looking on this side to see if Dark's trying to get a town center up. That could happen shortly. And Dark might finally deal with these step lancers. One knight should be enough there. And crazy game. In the middle, we've got demos and galleys, and MbL's landing some massive demo shots. It's probably the best demos he could have asked for. And again, the KD just continues to look better and better here for MbL. Dark never got fletching, by the way. So he upgraded War Galley, but these War Galleys aren't going to be too strong without fletching. It's going to be more about Fire Galleys, as MbL is just like going to sit here with this dock and periodically just send in some annoying fires. MbL knows he's on the right, knows his opponent isn't on the left, and that's his long term here. And look at these step lancers go. There's 5 of them now. And they can all so easily hit the knights. And there's also an overchop there. Oh, gosh. Oh, there's not. I thought there was. Oh, okay, there is a tree there, actually. MbL's farming eco looks incredible. If only would have gotten horse color. Like, those farms are going to be reseeding here shortly. Wouldn't surprise me to see him try and squeeze in some eco upgrades. Dark's quick walling has been really good. But he needs a position in this game where that's not a talking point. And you can't quick wall out step lancers like that, Dark. 2 villagers go down. MbL's got max value from low numbers of units. He's still thinking about this here, I'm sure, with the dock. He's on stone and thinking about a castle. And it just gets even worse for you if you're Dark, because then MbL's going to have Mangadai. And MbL's just made so much of this game look so easy. Good pressure. And then crazy economy behind as he's even going for forging now. Dark's approach, we understood it this game, right? Because the previous game I was confused. This game I understood it. Win water, dock early with Lithuanians. But MbL's fast castle approach with the Mongols. Something we haven't seen yet. I think the meta is going to change more and more as we see more of this map. So that maybe that will be meta come like week 5. I don't know. I'm sure other players will see this. But just one stable, one dock from MbL and the rest of its economy. And that's just like the greediest way to play. If you can get value like this, it's the way to play to victory as he shows up with the fires. Really good numbers there. Good enough to compete for the middle. Also still picking off villagers over here with those steps. My question for Dark is, what do you do for gold long term? Right? So, like, he needs to clear this first and then think about that. I'm wondering if MbL is going to castle this side or if he's going to be bold enough to try and castle this side because he has no army over there. You also could just place the castle at home because you just want to get Mangadai production as quickly as possible. And there goes MbL finally getting that horse color upgrade. He's probably reseeding farms and he's like, oh, yeah, forgot about that one. Guess the castle age would upgrade as well. Yeah, there's his castle. This is probably the safe approach because you have army protecting here. And you know your opponent does have some knights. Like these knights here, for example, were looking around over here. And if MbL would have just sent villagers there, he could have kind of thrown his position. And oh my god. MbL's not going to place it there. He's like, let me just place it on this guy's face. And oh god, Dark is coming out here speaking having no military. And Dark wanted to just get a desperation TC up over here. And I think now MbL's like, well, that could have been for a castle. Because that's what I would think if I saw that many villagers going that way. So he's going to place his castle there. This has been a painful series for Dark, dude. This is... MbL's just destroyed him. Like... And honestly, I've seen Dark at his peak. And I think it's very fair to say that he's underperforming based on what he can do as well. For those that haven't seen a lot from Dark... He's had better days. I think it's a confidence thing, right? There's certain players that you just feel like you never have a chance against. And MbL is just one of the worst players to play for anybody, but definitely more so for like those guys that are in Dark's position. MbL's played this perfectly here. He's going to get on his gold now. And now MbL should start to think about the other side. But 27 to 3 eco KD. It's going to be 28 to 3. 29 to 3. Oh god, dude, this is bad. This is a slaughter. Anyone else feel dirty watching this right now? Like, I feel like I shouldn't. Don't you guys do this? This is good content. But I feel like I need to look away. Oh man, MbL snipes a monk there too. The step lancers finally get cleared up. At least Dark does have 6 knights. That's exciting. But this KD, man, is specifically the eco KD is insane. And MbL is now going to be on water to snipe the rest of the fishing ships. So we'll have a castle on this side. Still no outposting or anything from MbL on the left. That would be Dark's way back. If Dark needs to get a TC up on the left gold. But MbL, man. Remember, the first season, the talking points from me were, it's MbL. He's known for not preparing. He, you know, he's got a full-time job. Some other people are playing more so full-time. You know, like, the group is really tough. I think it was Tato, Nikov, ACCM. Someone said Bad Boy, and then Dogao. MbL's top of that group. I don't think he lost a single series. He, like, a couple 3-0s, and then 2 1s. He's just a great player, man. He's so good at the game. So happy that he's, you know, still playing the game, right? I mean, doing so with a full-time job. I think the talking point is like, if I can't play at my best, do I want to play at all? Like, that's a worrisome thing for players, right? Because they know they can be better, but then it takes time, and then if you can't commit the time, blah, blah, blah. MbL, he doesn't have a lot of form drops, it seems. I think MbL's biggest weakness is just, like, the biggest stage, right? I think he's always struggled a little bit at performing in those types of situations. But in terms of consistency from series to series, he's always there. And, again, not a player that you want to play against. Dark is now 50 villagers behind. He's got some knights over here. MbL's making Mangadai from both sides, though. So he's got Mangadai on the right, but then Mangadai home, which could probably lead to being able to push towards that left gold area soon. And yeah, he sees Dark is here, and then Dark's like, oh, okay, he's got a castle there. Dark does have 1 relic, so he's got +1 attack on his knights. He probably will get relic number 2 here. He might even squeeze out relic number 3. But I guess the monastery's there, and who knows if that thing's going to stay up very long. And +2 armor for Dark, so maybe he'll be able to take some fights in MbL's base. Just how do you get there? I actually think the way to get to MbL's base is run through the middle now. MbL might have demos waiting for you, but I actually think that that's the play. Before the series today, I figured this map was Dark's best chance for a win based on MbL's typical lack of prep. Yeah, but MbL played this super good, didn't he? The fast castle was really unique. If anything, it feels like an MbL home map. Like game 1, you know, some things just went wrong for Dark. And Portuguese just looked really questionable. MbL, you know, played it as you would have expected. But this game's insane. Like, he's getting ballistics now. I guess the one thing we could question MbL on is he's missing bloodlines for his Mangadai. But his Mangadai haven't been hit by anything, so does that even matter? He seems a little paranoid about this area, so he's just going to drop another castle there. But a lot of that could also be because you want your castles to be safe with Mongols. You don't want them to be split up. And yeah, monastery will go down. Dark's going to have to like try and bring this monk over to the monastery on the other side, I guess. And he might be able to get this relic again later, but MbL's imping. The 13 knights for Dark are focused more so towards the left. They might be needed towards the right suit to defend him. MbL pulls back towards the castle. And he could even see a third castle over here. I mean, let me also add this. I feel like as we would head into Game 3 Arabia, MbL still no bloodlines. Noob player. Come on, MbL. You got this. You know what that tech does. But as we head towards game on Arabia, like, that's even more so suited to MbL. I mean, Dark plays Arabia all the time, too. Like, all the pros do. So maybe it'll actually be a little more competitive. But yeah, this is rough, man. 18 Mangadai. There's Bloodlines. There's Thumbring. MbL catching up there. Castle for Dark, just to keep himself in this game. He's hoping MbL's all in or something, right? MbL is far from it. 137 villagers. Just crazy economy, man. Now that will be the third area of gold, or second area of gold lockdown, I guess, as that's a big issue right now for Dark. He's got one tile that has 40 gold left. I think the other gold still has some. There's 12. He has 50 gold left, man. And then he will have relics. He actually will be able to get 4 relics, so that's really nice. So his knights will be really strong, but not against Imp Mangudai, not against Castlefire. Yeah, look at this. I think this is where you call the GG if you're Dark, and you're just like, what on earth? I did not expect MbL to play this well. Like, guys, we've seen so many sets so far where the promoted players are able to get wins because they come in prepped, but also because some of these guys who were already in Platinum last year, they're not really used to the map pool yet. They've been taking some breaks from the game, blah, blah, blah. Like, MbL's form is just insane. Like, this was a masterpiece of a game. Fast castle with the Mongols, gets the kill on the scout, gets a kill on the villager. Then goes FC into a quick and easy boom, so he's on 3 TCs. As he's doing that, he's raiding with multiple step lancers in different groups. He's got the fire galleys pressuring the fish. And then you fast forward through all that. He's got 4 castles with the Mongols. And he's in the Imperial Age before his opponent even clicks. That was just insane. I mean, I don't even think Dark's underperforming that much. I think Dark's got some decent strats. Game 1, he obviously made a mistake and then it snowballed. But like this game, maybe don't fight with that scout originally. Maybe just quick wall in a villager. But like, MbL played this like he'd practiced this a million times. 14-minute fast castle into everything that we saw. It's not like Dark's uptime was slow. 17:30 castle time. That's a really good castle time behind some fishing ships and some navy on water. MbL is a beast. Holy crap. Yeah, good game from him. Final game here. Still the objective is the same for Dark. Get 1 win. That's what he'll want. He knows he's the underdog. He knows it's looked bad. We'll see what ends up happening here on Arabia. All right, game 3. Dark wants to take some risks here because it hasn't looked too pretty. And we'll see what risks he's going to take with the Cumans. Woo-wee! Okay. So, you know, Dark got completely destroyed. There's a lot of different words that you could use for how the first 2 games have looked. He's been obliterated. He's been smashed. He's been clapped. He's been wrecked. He's been insert word for pain here against MbL so far. And now he goes for the Cumans. So he did draft this Civ. I didn't think this Civ would really be practical on a lot of the maps that would be played. And he clearly thinks that this risk is worth it here because of how good MbL is playing. Now, MbL is playing as the Aztecs. And MbL will immediately be thinking, is Dark going to go for the second town center? And if MbL is going for the second town center, if Dark is going for the second town center, MbL is going to need to play an adaptive build. Because oftentimes what you've done, if you're MbL in this position, is go for a Drush, and then Drush and adapt based on what you've seen. We'll see. Cumans can be really tough, right? Like, I remember the game where Hera played Kingston. I thought Kingston played really well on Ghost Lake. Hera had lost like 30 villagers, ended up still winning the game because his economy was wild. But the reason that strategy worked from Tato, and I think Hera on Ghost Lake, is because the map's more closed and there's a lot more food, right? There's no like extra food here, and the map is wallable, but still pretty open if you think about it. I'm not really sure where I would like to see a second town center if that's the play here for Dark. And maybe it's just mind games. Like, you still have the cheaper stables and archer ranges. So it is possible that Dark will just go for like archers and scouts, and maybe the second town center doesn't come up right away. In fact, based on what I'm seeing, he's got 4 on wood already. This would not be your traditional human 2TC build. But MbL, you almost have to respect that that's a possibility. So I think he will go for the early barracks. And then again, you adapt. That's the important thing. If you get forward with those militia and you realize, oh, this guy isn't going for the boom, then you just flex out of a fast castle and you go into a feudal age attack and play it standard as well. Drush stands for Dark Age Rush, so that's the early militia that MbL will probably make behind a barracks. And, yeah, he's going to make it most likely once he gets the wood right next to those houses. But if MbL were to find the wood line right now, MbL might think better of this strategy. He could actually just play standard. Let's see. Okay, sees the house. Sees the amount of villagers here. Could also go for that one villager, by the way. And get a kill. MbL, known as the lamer god, wants to take your sheep. What you gonna do about it? Oh, man. I mean, you definitely have to chalk that up as something you would have wanted to avoid here. But also, isn't that something that you could have avoided there if you're Dark? Also, did MbL see the boar? He didn't see the boar, but there being a boar there, Dark's going to assume MbL knows it's there. By the way, behind this, there's the barracks for MbL, so we are going to see the militia come forward. And Dark is going to get that boar. And Dark is... Oh, God, MbL saw the villager. Oh, Dark's getting loom, though. He should be okay. MbL's so annoying, dude. I would hate to be in Dark's position right now. Oh, God, don't lose your scout. Oh, that was so smart from MbL to make him worry about the villager and then go for the scout anyways. And here comes some walls here as well. And if I'm not wrong, MbL saw that villager running that direction too. So we will see what the Drush does. Here come the militia. Again, Drush and adapt. MbL getting more food back home too. Will be helpful if he wants to go fast castle. Dark hasn't left his base yet. If he does, he's leaving his base with a very weak scout. And again, he went for so much on wood that I don't think this would be your traditional build. Normally, he would be on the way to feudal age already if he was going for the early second town center. MbL's militia on the way behind this. He's actually gone for 3. So honestly, I feel like this could just... Even regardless, I think from what I'm seeing, he's planning on a fast castle build behind this. Yep. A mill on the deer, which is awesome. Plus the extra sheep. Adding so many militia. But, like, listen, Dark. This is not a good, really fast uptime. He does get to gold this game. I know one of the other games, it was tough for him to get to that gold when he wanted to. But he's lacking the scouting. MbL knows precisely where the wood line is. This is Dark's point of view. It's been a dark series, man. It's been dark and painful. And, oh, God. The quick walls! There's a hole, though! Oh, boy. And there's a hill. And it's rough. Those villagers there. Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, the positive here is that the militia and the eagle can't group around you if it's like this. And, okay, so Dark's now able to take his wood again. With 3 villagers, but he's able to take his wood again. He doesn't lose a villager. All right. More militia now on the field soon, but it'll be from Dark. So Dark trying to go for man-at-arms. He lost his scout at MbL's base. So he ran in, MbL saw it, but MbL can't scout the fact that there's a barracks. And MbL might still be a little confused because of the gold. And he doesn't seem super paranoid. I think if he was paranoid that there was going to be a rush of some kind, he would most likely be walling with more vills. He hasn't clicked up yet. Okay, now he sees the militia. And that's like, in my opinion, the dream scenario for MbL. Because at the very least, you can just fight this off. Even if it's man-at-arms, you could fight this off and just buy time so you can get your walls down. Remember, the majority of MbL's villagers have been working. They have not been walling. He delayed his walls. A lot of people wall early and then you have problems. But MbL's adding more militia. Remember, the goal for Dark is to win 1 here. Just 1. It's not expected of him to win more than that. He can get his 2 wins and his 3 wins in a series against other players. And MbL gets the hill. And his militia will thwart this attack. Now, we'll have archers behind this for Dark. And now the second TC from Dark as well. Ooh, interesting timing. I don't hate it. Because this will be enough to hold. You probably can't push anymore anyways. Dropping that town center is a great way to get a lead. It'll obviously take a lot of time. And oh boy, the unit control here from Dark. A little awkward. Very awkward, to be honest with you. It could have been so much better. I don't think you want to show MbL that town center's there. I think you just want to fight this off and hopefully not lose another Vill. Or lose a Vill. Sorry, he hasn't lost a villager yet. MbL blocking with the forward militia. MbL blocking like crazy. Won't get it. Weak villager will go to the farm. MbL will now see the TC. Okay. So MbL had added more militia because he was thinking, all right, I'm not going to go fast castle. But now he's probably like, oh, actually, I'm kind of worried about this because that town center is going to be up and I can't go fast castle anymore. Like I've invested my resources into eco upgrades and army. And KD's 4-4. Both players have lost the scout. MbL is going to make a range. This is likely going to be for some eagles and skirms and some nice forward pressure. Yeah, this is an amazing hill to take control of if you want to take out this town center. I'm pretty sure Siege can hit from the other side there, so. But that's the thing. There's just better TC spots on other maps. On Arabia, it's just so much more awkward to try this. So I think the Vill lead's going to be insane for Dark. Once he gets his TCs running, if he can do that. But he hasn't streamlined it towards eco upgrades that you would normally want. So, and he's going to get to a point where his TCs are producing Vills all the time, but much later than you normally would, which should lead to a much later castle age. And it's not like MbL still can't do some damage here. As MbL is going to go Archer, Eagle, Skirm, and just at least pressure this, right? Like, any villagers you take off of resources just means the booming aspect gets so much more difficult for Dark. Whereas for MbL, he's just walling up, playing super safe. Barracks and Archer Range are going to be sending units forward nonstop. And I don't know, man. I mean, I take it back. I know. This is just not going to be very clean for Dark. If you lose these villagers here, it's one thing. But losing access to the berries, that's another thing that can slow you down. Then the wood line, too. I guess the positive here is that he got this wall down early, so MbL can't loop around to the other resources. And he is trying to wall this way, too. This is always fun, right? So I assume most of you know this because I talk about it all the time, but if you don't, farmers cannot collect resources actively from a farm that is being attacked. They just stand there. So what players will do, if you're just sitting back with no army, is they will just attack your farm. If they can't hit your vills, they just attack your farm, so the villager stands there doing nothing. At Dark, he's going to end up moving away from that wood line now. But yeah, so he's hitting the villager now. But we'll see if MbL shifts over to a farm. He's got to be careful here with that Archer MbL. And there's still archers in the range there. The rest of the archers are actually in the TC. The Dark had added a stable so he could maybe make a scout because he had all skirmishers. But that's not possible when you want to produce villagers out of 2 TCs. And so you've got a 4 villager lead. Could rise to like a 10, 12, maybe even 15 villager lead. But MbL's on the way to Castle Age behind this little bit of pressure. And there's definitely going to be a villager coming forward for a siege workshop. If you stop that, though, if you kill this army and stop MbL from moving forward with that Vill, you delay that to a point where you've got a really good chance. So that's the goal for Dark. No fletching on 5 archers. And he's definitely thinking I need to go all-in feudal to defend from this upcoming attack. So he's even adding another stable. If Dark makes it to Castle Age this game, he will have already won the game. But that's the way this game is flowing, in my opinion. MbL didn't see that stable. He's adding more skirms. Now, he's also adding eagles. And eagles become especially strong once MbL's in castle because they get the 7 base attack. MbL did only sell 100 stones, so good observation. So if he feels like there's a spot where he's doing enough damage on the front, he might drop a second town center at home. I think if you're Dark, you hide this attack for as long as possible. And you maybe even stop producing villagers right now. Because, and this is a tough thing for me. I've been thinking about this when I play humans. You already have the eco lead. So I think it's worth it to stop producing villagers for a couple seconds. Like maybe 60 seconds, just so you can get like 3-4 more scouts out. Because you're going to lose that crazy eco lead that you get if you don't kill this army. Great Castle Age time from MbL, though. And MbL sees it now, so MbL knows. He should probably never make another skirmisher. He's getting Bod Canera for his range units. Interesting investment, actually, because he's 2 archers and 9 skirmishers. I mean, he's still going to get good value from it as he snipes the archers there and is hitting the villagers. He's adding some spearmen, too. Dark has no upgrades on the scouts. And Dark's not going to have archers any longer if he continues to poke his head out with them. And just look at all the production from MbL. Has the spearmen, has the eagles, has the monks, has the mangonels, and he's just going to go for these TCs. And he's just confidently standing in this spot. This is going to be so difficult for Dark, man. If Dark had 8 scouts, I still think it's a somewhat questionable fight without upgrades. But, okay, you see what I mean, though? So look at the build difference now. It's 20. But the army count difference has shot up. I actually think, and players don't do this too frequently, and I think more people are learning about this. And a player like Tato would do it, for example. He plays humans a lot. Just stop making vills once you have the lead, so all your stables can continually produce, and your blacksmith can get upgrades on your army. Getting more vills now isn't actually helping you. And I'm going to repeat myself like 3 or 4 more times, because that's the only way I'm going to remember it next time I play humans. Another villager goes down. 3 villagers have gone down so far. Dark has the scouts. He's hoping to get a bit of a surround here. He knows there's probably buildings here. But MbL's army count is just insane. Dark's getting forging now. I went a little too far away from the action there. The towers here to help delay the inevitable. 65 villagers versus 45, so still a 20 lead for Dark. How do you know you have the lead? Because you're humans. And because these guys are top like 30 players. That's how they know they have the lead. With the way this game is developed, you absolutely know you have the lead if you're humans. But you gotta keep it alive, right? And that doesn't mean you have a lead in the game if you can't get the army count. And MbL's army count's looking really good. Dark was hoping for a counter attack. He might actually get in here. I can't click the house myself. Yeah, that house will actually go down, which will make things very interesting here. The scouts actually kill the mangonel. 2 of the scouts get converted. That's really annoying because those have good upgrades. But these scouts getting in, did MbL notice this? It looks like he just did. MbL has to leave his gold because of these scouts, and suddenly, okay, Dark's still got to keep this TC up. Man, but how many scouts is he going to need to engage against this? MbL seems to know it's like impossible. He's just going to try and get a couple spearmen here and drop a TC. Oh, boy. Messy situation for MbL at home, but he's been so patient. He's put all of his units on stand ground so he doesn't accidentally run into a bad fight. And he just keeps an eye on it. And repairs his mangonels when he needs to. I mean, the towers are just going to melt. And Dark's trying to take a fight now. Here he's attacking. Spearman from MbL and the TC fire should kill that. Dark goes in. He lost his tower now. MbL still didn't lose any siege. And in the end, this attack will not fail, but it'll finish here, most likely. MbL can get that rewall down. And Dark went from 2 TCs to 1 TC. He's about to be on 0 TCs. This push from MbL is just too clean. And even if he loses one of the mangonels, I mean, he's still got 3 more. And he's still got a massive army. Man, if this was Christmas, I'd be singing like, on the first day of Christmas, MbL gave to me 3 mangonels, 2 archers. Like, look at the count. It's a shame he's got 2, 2, 2, 2, like on a lot of these, but reminds me of that silly little edit Hardy did for the first day of Christmas. But yeah, a TC goes down, and that's all MbL would have wanted there. Now he's going to want to dive in for villager kills with the Eagles. He actually could do so with the scouts he's converted. He's got 4 scouts. 4 scouts, man. That's cheating. Aztecs aren't supposed to be able to have scouts. But I like the patience from MbL in this game. Like, he's made it look very easy. Just never really moved out or took any risks with his siege. A lot of his army's just been standing there. Like, if you're fighting at home and defending from counterattacks, oftentimes what happens is you look away from this, and then your units are in a bad spot. Like the scouts attacking a farm, for example. But yeah, he is rewalled here. Dark tried again. And monks have spearmen and archers next to them. Scouts at MbL converted are getting some crazy value here on villagers, plus the eagles, plus the skirmishers, plus the monks. And now that vill count's going to be pretty even here. But one player is still going to be in feudal, which is the big problem. 58 villagers now versus 67. The eco KD is not actually even that insane. It's just the fact that Dark haven't been able to produce villagers for a while now. And MbL has been able to. MbL completely outclassed Dark in this series, right? Like, it definitely feels like a player who won their group in the first season up against a player who... Uh-oh, hold on. Scouts come in. We've got the whole group now. All right, Dark might actually put an end to this little attack from MbL. Took him a long time to do that, but okay, not bad, not bad. I'll still complete my sentence, though. It has had a feel of a series for someone who won their group in Platinum in the first season versus a promoted player. It's now 59 villagers for Dark, 66 for MbL, but now MbL's 3 town centers. Pretty close game in terms of the KD. I think for MbL, like, normally he would have wanted more eagles and spearmen in that fight. Again, I was really curious why he had gotten Bodkin arrow for all his skirms earlier, because that's not really helpful against scouts. And so I think that caught up with him a little bit. MbL is going to make a monastery here and another barracks. A Dark Scout attacking that villager. MbL should see the scouts weak, but it might not actually matter anymore. There is a wolf on the way, and no woo-woo-woo there. I think MbL deleted the barracks, didn't lose the foundation, but okay. Dark is on 2 TCs again. So one's going to castle, and the other one is producing villagers. And MbL's got all these scouts to deal with, and he'll just place some houses behind. Good recovery from Dark. I mean, it looked so bad for him. Woo-woo-woo! Woo-woo-woo! Oh, no! Oh. This game keeps adding insult to injury to poor Dark. Of course it was a weak villager. And I will say this. If you have 16 scouts, which Dark is soon about to have, and then you mix in lancers, and then go forward siege, you've got a real chance here. Like, lancers can be really helpful against Aztecs. Oh my god, look how weak these scouts are there. What? These guys are barely alive. They're on life support right now. But yeah, like, getting 5 to 10 lancers mixed in with the scouts could be really effective against eagles and spearmen. Still 60 seconds away from being able to make the lancers, though. MbL, he's taking a pretty good fight before then. Again, it was Arabia. Like, 2 TCs on Arabia. That's not a common thing. Normally, you're not seeing players do that, and you're not seeing them do that for a reason. Because of how open you can be, because of how easy it is for your opponent to be aggressive against you. 56 to 58 KD. Obviously, the one wolf got a kill, which kind of ruined the stat line here at the bottom left. But Dark's resources are looking pretty good. He is going to lose some of his scouts here, but he's going to kill a monk. He is now 30 villagers behind, though. Woo! Didn't realize that. Loses more scouts as he's making those step lancers and his click the like have upgrade. But yeah, he needs an immediate forward siege follow-up after a big clear, I think. I think that's got to be the direction this goes. So big early fight to take map control from MbL. Make MbL think, oh crap, what do I do against lancers? Go forward siege on him. Yeah, MbL wants to come forward right now and make monks. I think there's a very good chance with the Lancer Lycav combination that MbL continues to lose his eagles. Let's see. Lancers hit from one range. Remember, we saw MbL use Lancers in the previous game. MbL gets a conversion on a Lancer, but he loses the monk. Monks are expensive. Eagles are expensive. And Dark says, hold the phone. I'm still in this game. Also, he's dropping a 3rd town center. He's dropping a 4th town center. He's got lots of food eco. I think if Dark hits this position right now, he clears this too, and MbL actually begins to have some pretty big problems. Yeah, it should be an amazing fight for the Lancers if he takes it. Yeah, should be taking that fight. And if he gets in with the Lycav too, I mean, so many things could happen here. Those Lancers are also faster than the Eagles. There's the Pikeman upgrade for MbL, but he might be regretting not making more. He's got 15 Spearmen, 21 Spearmen in queue now. Now Pikeman. But oh my god, the Lancers, let's go! Sheesh. We'll have a lot of the pikes massed here, MbL. That's what he's hoping for. He's hoping for a better fight. Those eagles might have died, but they bought his friend's time. Now it's not a fight you necessarily want to take. Be a great spot for some scorpions, maybe, if you're Dark. He's trying to use the one range from the step lancers and micro them a little bit like you might see cav archers microed. And should make the fights a little bit better for you. That's very good patience. You don't see that a lot from people with lancers. It's just not easy to do, right? Because you have to do everything else. Good pickoffs in the end. Here the light cav trying to break in. MbL not allowing that with some quick walls. Pikeman will go deal with it. The worrisome thing here for Dark is that MbL's just got so many pikemen. He's producing so many pikemen. So yeah, you can only do that little one range micro trick for so long. He did get good value, but now he needs another unit. And that unit for him is going to be cav archers. Nice job there from MbL. Gets a convert and then also uses that guy to get a kill. And just like you would expect with MbL with an eco lead, just like you would expect with Aztecs, the production's insane. It's like, feels like he's post-imp Goths right now. He's just flying forward with infantry. And he's just got good vision over Dark's map as well, right? Like, he knows about this area, he knows about this area. He's got 2 relics behind this too, which is great with the Aztecs. And now he's going into Rams. There was a window for Dark, but I think it all circles back to Feudal Age and Early Castle Age and just how much damage MbL was able to do. And when he got that lead, he knew what to do with it. He's even dropping Town Center number 4 over here next to a gold, which he'll want. But yeah, I think Dark, he just went for a very low percentage strategy. And he did so because he had so little confidence that he could beat MbL based on how MbL had already played. Like, MbL played extraordinarily well in the first game and second game. And so he just felt like, well, let's just try it. Because I can't play standard against this guy because this guy's too good. I need a civ that gives me some type of an edge and some crazy possibility beyond that. So I can appreciate the thought process behind him trying it, right? I still don't think that it's a good sign for him as a Platinum player. But the goal for him was to get 1 win here. Him being 3-0 does not mean he's relegated or anything. It's just his first week. He'll have more sets to play against good players, obviously. Like, in this group, you've got Leary and you've got Yo, amongst other names. But not looking good for Dark. 40 villagers behind. Pikemen and Eagles all over him right now. Trying his best to get counterattacks. That's probably been the most impressive thing he's done this game, is trying to change the point of attack. But every time he does that, MbL just splits forces and dives deep into his economy, and he just has no defense for it. Well, Dark tried to do all-in military once he reached Castle. He did. I mean, he had like 35 army. He had Lancers with the light cap, but MbL just had 6 barracks with 40 more vills, and he produced army extraordinarily quick, right? Dark trying. He's on the way to Imp, actually. This is his Imp TC. He will make it there. I'm not sure what he'll be able to upgrade when he's there. He barely has resources. MbL is just chasing him down everywhere. MbL is all over the guy. 50 military for MbL, who will also click up to Imp now, but MbL, obviously, he's going to be able to get upgrades in Imp, and I don't even think it'll get there. I think this is the classic. Many of my viewers might know this strategy. It's Imp into GG. Click up to Imp. Hope that's going to make a difference. And then after you reach Imp, you're like, yep, I can't do anything, actually. Time to resign. And time to call the GG. No offense. I'm not calling you out, okay? If you got offended by that comment, you've called yourself out. Because I didn't say your name. And I think we all know what that strategy is. Where it's like, you know you're dead, but you're on the way to Imp. You're like, well, I at least want to make it to Imp before I resign. But MbL's insane. Like, he doesn't even need to convert all these cav archers perfectly. But he's going to do that if the cav archers come in. Dark's probably disappointed in himself too, guys. But yeah, he taps out. He calls it GG. MbL 90 seconds away from Imp there. Like we said, would have won the game. And yeah, that series was just a stomp. So Dark's going to have his work cut out for him. I don't think that he could be 3-0'd multiple times and still have a chance. The only world where Dark can get 3-0 and still have, or sorry, get 3-0'd multiple times like that and have a chance is if he in turn wins 3-0 against other people in his group. I think the goal in order to be safe is going to be something like 5 or 6 wins. Potentially a little bit less in this particular group because you have MbL, you have Leary, you have Yo, you have Draken, you have Backed, and then you have Dark. But yeah, that one obviously one to forget there for Dark. For MbL, he comes in here, he gets a quick and easy $120, $40 per win, shoots himself up to leading in the group. And what also is interesting in this group, if you've been following the full results, is what has happened with Leary and what happened with Yo, as they weren't able to get 3-0 easy results in their first week. So, yeah, MbL on top right now of Group B. And a good series, but obviously just more of a series where we got to see how crazy MbL is as a player. He had 5K gold in the bank at the end of that game. That's not something you see every day. Dang, man. What was his gold collected in this game? 15,000 gold collected. But yeah, game one, I wasn't like, my biggest worry with Dark is not so much the performance, because MbL played amazing, but it was also the strategy. Game one, picking Portuguese on cross, not sure why. Still doesn't look to me like it was a great play. You had Lithuanians, you had other civs you could draft, other civs that all the other pros tend to prefer. Then, Lithuanians, I don't have an issue with in game two. I think that's fine. I think you can play Lithuanians fine. But Cumans on Arabia? Like, come on, Dark. You've got to go. I think you have to play it to your strengths. Have a little bit more confidence there, but it's easy for me to say. I mean, if I was playing up against MbL, I would probably go for something crazy too, because I would lose all confidence in my ability to play standard. He's a really tough player to play against. GG's, good series, and we'll move on for more.